Have you ever been to the doctor or met someone that's been to the doctor and had severe health issues? The doctor puts them through 100 scans, 100 blood tests, all sorts of nonsense, and they don't find anything. It's because of this and this. They don't have machines that measure your soul's energy and that looks for trauma and these bits being out of line and out of whack rather than being in line. They don't. Grief, anger, all these different things, they affect the physical body, but they are emotions first. For those of you who are new, I want to welcome you to my channel where I am running an experiment on myself to see how I can master the art of healing. And instead of me locking myself away in a room for like a year and I'm coming out with all these powers and having people wonder, how did he get here? I am talking you and running you through everything that I am doing as often as I can, week by week, day by day. In today's video, I want to talk about the 3 types of energy that I'm learning to master, and I want to explain what they are because this will provide a solid foundation for all of the challenges that we are going to do together over the next months, weeks, years, etc. Okay, so welcome to my lesson, whatever you want to call this, on the 3 energy types. And most people, unfortunately, only really focus on the energy of the body. But today I want to really provide a greater depth of understanding about the energy of the soul and the energy of the spirit, so that when I start doing practices, you understand why I'm doing them. Okay, so let's start with the energy of the body. The energy of the body is known as electromagnetism. Now, for those of you who went to school or who may have, I think this is like secondary school level. For those of you who are in America, I don't know what grade that is, but I'm sure you've all heard of the EM spectrum. I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent explaining this now. But the word electromagnetic is made up of 2 words: electricity and, of course, magnetism. Okay? Magnetism, you guys have all heard of magnets, north, south, attraction and repulsion. And we know what electricity is, current flowing, okay? I say this is the energy of the body because it is the energy of the body and the physical world, okay? For those of you who did science at school, you learned about a spectrum that looks something like this. I should probably change colour. But the electromagnetic spectrum, I'm really pulling on my A-level physics here. But you have radio waves, microwaves, infrared rays, visible rays, which is basically the light that we see as human beings, which is basically the whole color spectrum, right? We have ultraviolet rays, X-rays and gamma rays. Don't quote me on this, but in terms of wavelengths, that's the whole variation. Don't really need to know any of that. What you need to understand is, this is the energy that is found in the universe, okay? On a physical level, when we're looking at planets, when we're looking at different types of energy that has to do with the physical body. This all has to do with the physical body. This is visible light, the stuff that you see with your organs, stuff that hits your eyes. Electromagnetism, or the EM spectrum, and this energy, right, is present throughout history across all these different cultures, okay? This is what the Chinese call qi. It's referred to as ki in some cultures. It's also referred to as prana, but it's electromagnetism. This is not spiritual energy, although some people make out that it is. And this is not soulish energy. This is purely the energy of the physical body, and science has proved it. I want you lot to just try and remember this, because electromagnetism is very important for the physical body. I mean, too much of this, as you guys know, causes cancer. We use this in medicine. We use this in medicine with like gamma knives and stuff. Like, this is what they use in your TV remotes. This is what I mean when I say it's a physical thing. Now, bearing in mind, you still can't see this energy. And so people can utilize and learn how to use electromagnetism and mistake it for something spiritual just because you can't see it. Just because you can't see a thing doesn't mean it is spiritual, okay? Not all science is seen, but science can be experienced in other ways. You can't necessarily always see wind, but you still feel it and experience it. And I want you guys to remember that, okay? So this is physical energy, And I'm not done with the energy of the body. And I say I'm not done with the energy of the body because there is one more point I want to make about electromagnetism. And this is that this energy is present throughout your whole body, okay? You have a spine, but there are two types of fluids that move up and down the spine, one of which contains an electric fluid, and one of which contains a magnetic fluid. And what happens is it travels up and down your spine, and it gathers in your solar plexus. So the video cut out, but as I was saying, remembering the fact that electromagnetic energy travels up and down the spine is going to be important for later. But the reason why I'm talking about this in relation to the body is because your heart actually has a field full of this energy that reaches meters away from the body, and there's also one in your brain which is centimeters. So centimeters and meters. I'm explaining this because when you walk into a room, and I want you to think about this, have you ever walked into a room and you can tell that there's been an argument in there? Have you ever met someone and you just feel like, oh, I just don't take to them? Or you ever been in an environment with people and you feel like I shouldn't be here, or we don't really connect in the way in which we should? This is all because of this. Your heart has this physical energy, this electromagnetic energy, right, in this field which then interacts with other people. This is not anything spiritual. Whether or not you believe in this or not, it's a science that is proved. It is happening 24/7 and you can learn to turn into this. This is important because when it comes to healing, I want to practice using this to sense the issues and the states of all the people around me so that then I can help heal them. But I need to explain that this is the energy of the physical body. Across other cultures, electromagnetic energy, or the energy of the physical body, is also referred to, and I've said this before, but it's called chi. In some places it's called ki. In other cultures it's called prana. That energy, or the physical body, not the soul or the spirit, is what this is often referred to. And so a lot of people are scared of these words, but it's all just the body's physical energy. Which is also why when you see people practicing using these things, what do? They move their physical body, right? When it comes to building up chi, they move their physical body, right? Qigong, Tai Chi, all of these different practices, they involve moving the physical body because you're learning to deal with the electromagnetism within your body. Now, yes, the Chinese also have systems such as the meridian system, which is basically explaining the channels by which chi and other types of energy can run through, but it's all physical. This has nothing to do with the soul and nothing to do with the spirit. That is the energy of the body explained in the most simple way, all right? When you learn to tap into this energy of the physical body, which is also quantum, right, because it's electromagnetic, there is so much you can do just on that physical level alone. But now let's move up into the soul and into the spirit. I hope you guys are learning stuff that will at least begin to make sense later. Now let's look at the energy of the soul and how the soul works. Now, there are many different words or names for the energy of the soul, but to keep it simple, soulish energy is astral energy. Now that word, once again, loves to scare religious people. Astral means anything to do with the soul, or beyond the stars. It is a higher plane of existence than the physical plane. You don't walk around and see each other's souls, you see each other's physical bodies. The only way in which you learn to see each other's souls or see people through that way is by engaging your soul, all right? You have physical eyes to see the physical world, you have soulish eyes to see the soulish world, and you have spiritual eyes to see the spiritual world. You have a physical body to see the physical world, you have a soulish or astral body to experience the soulish or the astral world, and then you have a spiritual body or a spirit to experience the spirit world. I hope I am making sense. Now, you can use all three of these bodies to experience all three of these worlds at any given time, in the same way you choose to stand up and walk around and go for a run or a jog. It is that simple. However, our whole lives we've been conditioned to only use one. And so learning to use the other two can be a bit tricky, it can make people a bit nervous, but we're going to talk about the energy of the soul and how it works, okay? So, now whether or not you believe this is demonic or not is entirely irrelevant to the fact that this is something that you have. There's nothing you can do about it. It's like having a skeleton, okay? Just because, you know, people see skull and crossbones, that's a good example that my teacher gave me. People see a skull and crossbones and think, oh my gosh, it's demonic, but you have a skeleton in your body and there's nothing you can do about it, okay? So whether or not you accept this or not, this is what you have, and the longer you neglect this, the more unhealthy you become within the soul. But your soul has points of energy, okay? Spinning wheels of energy, or chakras. Chakras in Sanskrit literally just means spinning wheels because they are pools of energy where energy basically is stored within the soul, okay? And you have quite a few of these. So you have the crown. I don't know if I have all the colours, but I'm going to draw these out. You have the first eye. And I say first eye and not third eye because this is the first eye that actually develops within the baby in the womb. You're seeing with this eye before you see with the two physical eyes that you have. Hence why when the baby is in the womb and his eyes aren't open, it is still collecting information within the soul, because the soul is the part of you that receives information and processes information. The astral plane is all about information. Hence why you hear a lot of spiritual people talking about the Akashic records, which are libraries and records in the astral plane, the plane of information, where you can go and read up about history and all of these other things. Hence why a lot of people, when they talk about spirit guides, which are for the most part normally astral entities, they're interacting with people on a higher plane that are bringing them information. Whether that information is true or not is completely irrelevant to what I'm saying right now. What I'm saying right now is that this is the realm of information, okay? You have the first eye. Let's mix it up. You've got the root, you've got the heart. I might have to use blue for the throat. Unfortunately, I wish I had all the colours, but I don't. You have the throat, you have the solar plexus, and you have the sacral. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's all of them. Okay? All of the main ones anyway. You have a lot more than these, but these are the main ones. Okay? This is what your soul looks like, and I want you guys to imagine that it goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, because those are the general colours. This is the energy of the soul. Now, how it works is, this is an energy filtering system. These all overlap with organs in the physical body, because I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but your physical body, your soulish body, and your spiritual body all have points in which they overlap and interact with each other. Okay? So here, you know, you have all your organs, you have your eyes, you have, you know, your lungs, your ears, all of that kind of stuff, right? I'm gonna just put body here, soul here, and spirit here. All I want you to think about or understand is that these are just the main points or the main organs of your soul, in the same way your physical body has organs. So, you know, the root, your soul has a root, but in the physical you have, say, sexual organs, right? Your soul has a heart. In your physical body, you also have a heart. Do you get what I mean? Throat, you have 2 eyes, you have 1 eye. Your spirit has way more eyes than both of these. For example, you have the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, whereas in your soul you have the crown. And what often, people do is they kind of mix and match these. So they'll talk about opening your pineal gland as being the same as opening your first eye. In reality, what working on the pineal gland or pituitary gland does is it just allows for this energy that's already within the soul to filter through. So if your soul's first eye and your soul's crown is unhealthy, even if you're opening up your pineal gland and opening up your pituitary gland to access these things, what you will see and what you'll begin to experience will still be unhealthy because your soul is unhealthy. So this has to do with beliefs, information, all sorts. For example, if in your crown you believe you can't lose weight, you're ugly, you're, you know, all these negative things, right? Doesn't matter how much you try and open your first, third, 7th, 900th eye, you know, put rocks on your head to open all sorts of stuff, right? That belief is embedded in your crown, and until you deal with it Everything that you do on the physical body will be a reflection of this, because this is a higher plane. This is the highest plane, this is a higher plane, and then this is the standard base level plane, okay? So this overrides this, and this technically overrides all of these, but we'll get onto that in a minute. What I want you guys to just understand is that this is another type of energy that we are going to have to master. And when it comes to healing people, I spoke about chi, prana, and all of that, which often they use in Reiki, but people often have soulish issues. They have trauma. This has to do with trauma. They have issues within themselves that basically embed here based on past events. That requires healing within here, okay? Healing isn't just about someone having an issue in their physical body and you dealing with it. Sometimes it's an issue within their soul, right? Because, and there are many people who have proven this, including Dr. Joe Dispenza, oftentimes trauma can be the cause of things in the physical body. Remember guys, I said that this interfaces with this. And so someone who keeps having knee pain or keeps having chest pain, right, that keeps coming back, that can be due to emotions, right? And the states of things that you experience here more so than it is here. Have you ever been to the doctor or met someone that's been to the doctor and had severe health issues? The doctor puts them through 100 scans, 100 blood tests, all sorts of nonsense, and they don't find anything. It's because of this and this. They don't have machines that measure your soul's energy and that looks for trauma and these bits being out of line and out of whack rather than being in line. They don't. And so all of the medicine that we're dealing with, specifically when it comes to big pharma, is all done from a physical point of view or perspective. Grief, you know, anger, all these different things, they affect the physical body, but they are emotions first. The soul is what processes information. The soul processes emotion, energy in motion, and this is the energy that's in motion, okay? Your root, right? When it's unbalanced, you're very angry. Your sacral, when it's unbalanced, you're overly sexual. Your solar plexus, when it's unbalanced, you have will, which is good, but for the wrong things, right? Your heart, when it's unbalanced, you guys know what happens when you have an unbalanced heart. When your throat is unbalanced, you struggle to express yourself. When your first eye is unbalanced, you struggle with intuition and vision, and when your crown is unbalanced, you don't know about your divinity and you are out of line with it, and so you act accordingly, which then damages you more and more. So this is very, 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 very important. I don't want to keep going on and on about this. I feel like I've said a lot. You can replay the video. This is probably one of the most important videos for someone who's just coming into this to watch and begin to understand, okay? But remember, this over this. That's the energy of the soul. I don't think I have much more to say about that. Let's move on to the spirit. If you're still here watching this, I love and appreciate you. And I don't just say that, I actually feel it within all three of my hearts. Let's talk about the spirit. I'm not going to delve into the spirit's anatomy. I'm just going to explain about what your spirit is. Your spirit is what interfaces with the spiritual world. Good news, guys. You don't have to work specifically on your spirit in the same way you have to work on your soul and your body. Your spirit is already perfect. Good news. Your spirit is already perfect. What you need to learn how to do is learn how to become comfortable using your spirit and then interfacing it with the soul and the physical body. When it comes to healing, spiritual energy is probably the easiest energy to use. Now, a lot of people who deal with healing in religious settings, specifically when we're looking at Christianity, for example, I have a history of healing people within Christianity using the Christian system, right? The soul and the body don't matter, because what you do is you charge up energy in your spirit, or better yet, you don't even charge up energy in your own spirit. You just pray over someone and basically ask God to do it. If I was still in that system, these videos would just be me doing that, because I used to do it and it worked. What I found was that as I started to grow in my spiritual journey, it got to a point where I would ask God and be like, God, can you heal this person? It just wouldn't work anymore. Because God was basically telling me, you need to learn how to do it yourself now, as a son, right? So it's a bit of progression now to the point where the same things that Yeshua was doing when he was teaching people how to do, as the spiritual leader and teacher that he was, we now have to learn to do ourselves rather than constantly relying on our father or someone else to assist us in doing so. And that's what maturity is, growing up, right? When you're a child, you're not expected to know how to, I don't know, drive or cook. But as you get older, it's not normal for a 30 or 40-year-old man to be asking his mum and dad to still cook for him. He should be able to cook for himself and take care of himself, okay? And so the spirit is perfect, your own spirit is perfect. I know there's a lot of jargon that gets thrown around where it's like, oh, he has a bad spirit, he has a bad this, a bad that. There are such things as bad spirits, right? But not when it comes to what you have inside of you, because as a human being, for the most part anyway, the spirit that you have originates from God, okay? Now, your spirit, for you people watching this video, is already perfect. You just don't know how to interface with it. And if you haven't taken the steps of initiating yourself into the kingdom, which is the spiritual system that I believe in, then you may not have much success accessing this. Initiating yourself into the kingdom is as simple as making the choice. But I'll get onto that in other videos. Guys, the video cut out again, but all I was going to say was, that's basically this video done. I appreciate those of you who stayed to the end. If you want to learn more about this and about some of the things I'm hinting at, my spirit school is in the description. It's completely free. You click the link, fill out a form, get access to all of my teachings. There are more tiers coming because there are some things which I can't teach the general public. But having said all of that, thank you guys for staying here. Thank you for trusting me to guide you through this, and thank you for watching me and joining me on this experiment. Because as I say once again, I'm only doing this to prove that anyone can go after anything, specifically when it comes to these spiritual things, and really get it and grasp it. With that, peace.